All right, we're going to get into the second alarm type right now. The second one is video loss. All analog cameras connected to ViconNet products can configure a video loss alarm. The video loss alarm notifies when there's a signal loss of the camera. Now note, this is also relevant to some IP cameras where a camera module is internally connected to a compression board. For example, the SVFT, the Surveyor, does have that ability, but not all ViconNet IP cameras do have the video loss capability. So it's a matter of the specific hardware type that you purchase, and it'll be in the manual and it'll let you know when it does or does not support the video loss. But in any case, all analog cameras, since they are connected directly to either a collector, the DVR type, or a KTX, which is our video transmitter, those do support video loss. And the idea being that if the video line was cut and there is no more video, or the signal strength drops to such a level that it constitutes a video loss signal, then you will be notified of that as well. Now from the setup site selection, again we go into the alarm screen. Since we're already in the alarm screen, I'm not going to get out, I'm just going to stay here as is. And as you can see that by default, all the video loss alarms are already configured for you. The idea being that when you take a collector, for example, out of the box and you connect cameras to it, it automatically starts to record them 24/7 and the system starts to work. But if there's ever a video loss on any of these cameras, then the collector will automatically pop up a signal in the alarm window and notify you that a video loss has occurred for that particular camera. And again, we're going to learn in a little while how to send that notification onwards in case nobody is manning the station, and how to deal with that type of alarm. A collector will display the alarm window as indicating that the local camera has had video loss occur. An IP video transmitter needs to be configured to send the alarm notification to a workstation. And that configuration can also be done on the workstation, as I mentioned. I'm sorry, on the collector, so that it can also be sent to a separate workstation as well. So that works with IP cameras and collectors as well as KTXs. If the camera is being displayed when the video loss occurs, the camera icon on the site list will indicate a red X. So also when video loss occurs, if in the site list I'm looking at the list, when cameras that are being displayed all of a sudden go to video loss, there will be a little red X under the camera name indicating to me visually that that camera currently is in video loss as well. All right, so we're going to choose in our example, let's do camera number 3, video loss, for example. Since we already have it defined in the system, adding a detector won't work because the camera already is configured for video loss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it, and I'll show you how we edit. And in this particular case, it takes me right to the alarm setup wizard. Here as well, we have the alarm activity time. And again, the activity time indicates when notification will be sent if the alarm occurs. And you can enable the alarm for up to 3 different daytime selections. And of course, the default is 24/7. Now, if I want to, I can make it, as you can see, from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. the next day. And the next day indicates that it will be past midnight. And I can make this time be whatever time I want it to be. I can make it from 2 p.m. until 2 p.m. And again, as long as it says the next day, it will be past midnight. So just to clarify this a little bit more, Sunday from 2 p.m. it'll start and it'll end Monday at 2 p.m. And since Monday is also checked, it'll continue through. And since all 7 days are checked, that's how I get the 24/7 time period for my activity time. And at the bottom of the screen, you select the minimal time interval again. And we've already talked about this, so I'm just going to click on the next button. We get again to the related device section. And again, we will talk about this later on. And here we get to the final selection as well. And once more, if we had macros we wanted to trigger from this alarm, this is where we would do that. If we don't have a macro written, we can simply go to the macro editor and then be able to set that up. But again, I'm going to do this on the video motion detection, and we'll get into all the macros on that. The main reason I do that is because I have full control of the video motion, and I'll be able to trigger alarms whenever I want. It just makes it a lot easier. Any questions on video loss? I just want to make sure the audio is working. Hello?
Nope, no questions.
Okay. Yeah, there's no feedback here for me, so it just makes sure that I know everything's still working here in terms of the audio portion. All right, so I'm going to click on Finish.
I had to mute mine here.
Okay. No
I
problem.
had
I
to
just want to
mute
make
because
sure
it's so
because,
loud here.
right, it's just that I hear absolutely nothing, and it makes me wonder if, wait a second,
Yeah.
maybe something happened to the audio. All right, we're going to get to the last alarm type, which is the video motion detection. Note this section is relevant to ViconNet-based IP cameras only. It does not include third-party cameras and megapixel cameras. These other cameras will be discussed briefly afterwards. The main thing to remember here is that the video motion detection is part of the ViconNet setup screen. If I cancel for a second, you'll notice that we're in ViconNet, and I simply selected a site from my setup site selection. For example, if I select the ViconNet 910 IP camera, I would then go into that particular camera's setup. Third-party cameras and megapixel cameras, the setup of the specific camera is actually done through a web browser. You can access the web browser from the ViconNet application. However, you still get into a web browser for the actual setup of that camera. So you can do video motion detection on third-party cameras, and we'll briefly talk about that, but it's done separately, and the receiving of the alarms is actually done a little bit different as well, but we will touch on that and help understand the full differences between them. So in any case, I'm going to go back to the collective force demo. Let me just make sure I'm going to select the right camera for video motion detection. I'm going to select camera number 3. So again, I go to Setup, and from the Setup Site selection, I need to select the machine where the camera is physically connected to. In my particular case, I'm going to the collective force because that has the camera I want to set up. And if I were to do the IP camera 910, which we'll do later on as part of our demonstration, then I will select the 910 camera from the list. But again, I'm going to go to camera 3 from the collective force. So I select it from my list. And then I go into the alarm section portion of that screen. And as you can see, there is no alarm configuration for camera number 3 video motion detection. In order to get that done, I need to press the Add Detector button on the camera I want to configure. So I click on Add Detector, and here I have my list of sensors, and at the bottom I have the list of all 16 cameras for that particular collector. I'm going to select camera number 3, and that is the camera I want to perform the video motion detection on. And when I select the camera, you'll notice that it tells me on the right side the camera there are 2 types of alarms that can be defined for the camera. One is the video motion detection, and the second is the video loss detection. So in video loss, if this was the first time I was doing the video loss camera, when I click on Next, this is where I'd choose video loss as opposed to video motion detection. But since video loss already exists for that particular camera, then if I click on video loss, it'll simply tell me that it's already configured and you need to select a different camera. So I'm not going to try that since I know it's not going to work, and we already did video loss to begin with. I'm going to select the video motion detection section of the alarm type. And then when I click on Next, it takes me to the following screen, which is the screen of where I can dictate the area that I want for motion detection.